let's get this thing going. Okay, putting the timer on. I'm also going to put my earbuds in. So my speaker is just... It sounds terrible. And plus, it's probably not good for me to be listening through my speaker. Because later on I will have a clip to play, so don't want that. Let me turn some things off on here. And I will go ahead and try to send myself a chat message just to verify things are working the way they should, because they do not always. Or something. Okay. All right. Will it work? Does not look like it. Nope. Let's try it again. Same thing. There we go. Now it sent it. I should probably avoid touching my earbuds too much, or it might start one of these YouTube videos I have up in my tabs. It's not what we want. Alright. Lift my water out of here. It's a shame. Truly a shame. Okay, I am going to put this on the video that I wanted on, which we will play later. That was my earbuds. Let's hope that I'm gonna mute some things. Alright, unmuted them. I just needed to check my sound to make sure it was going through my earbuds, because I heard my earbuds beep, which sometimes means they're turning on, sometimes they're turning off, sometimes they're connecting or disconnecting. So, alright, let's see, do I need to do anything else? Maybe make sure my notes are ready, because I've got lots of notes today. Lots of notes. I'm a little tired. I apologize for yawning. Alright, let's get going. Hello everyone, this is Venus Brown. I am back with another After Watch for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. This is the season finale, episode 6, called The Morrow. Not on the morrow, but like on the morrow. So what we're going to do today, since it is the season finale and I don't have another episode coming up, I am going to go over a kind of a breakdown of what happened in the episode, not necessarily play by play, although sort of, not everything that happened, but trying to get down to the basics of what happened. Then I have a video to play, Night of the Seven Kingdoms inside the episode. I will play that. Instead of doing it on my intermission screen, I'll do it on my watch screen, so that way you can see my lovely reaction as I'm watching, because I haven't seen this myself. So after that is over, and by the way, that video is 6 minutes and 29 seconds. So 6 minutes, 29 seconds, we'll watch that. And then we'll come back and I'll do my VIP, my piece of shit, my favorite scene, least favorite scene, that kind of stuff. And then maybe we'll talk a little bit about what we might be able to expect next season. It's only so much I know, but I will talk about the little bit that I do know or have heard. Anyway. So we start out the episode and Dunk, Lionel, and was it the religious guy? I can't remember. Somebody else is with them. It might be the religious guy. They're all three laying there along this tree, and Dunk is looking particularly just shell-shocked, destroyed, done in, doesn't know what to do, far off stare. And he talks about that in this video. I did see that little bit at the very beginning. He talks about that far off stare. Like when you're in that kind of place, sometimes it's just it's hard to reach the person. And Lionel's trying to get him, he's trying to reach him, he's trying to get him to talk. And Lionel's excited. He feels like this a battle of the seven-pointed star or whatever it was, that went well. It was a great battle. And I get where he's coming from. I do. But Dunk is not there. Dunk is just in another, he's in another place. And, yeah. And then, Lionel starts talking to him about the possibility of joining with him, and where was it? Oh, I think I wrote it down somewhere. I thought I did. I could have sworn that I did. Storm's End? Yeah. Starts talking to him about the possibility of joining in Storm's End, that they'll be great friends, they'll be like brothers, and he also says, or if you don't want to join me, then we'll hate each other like brothers. And I when I was reacting to it, I was like, yeah, there's a fine line between brotherly love and brotherly hate. But yeah. But he says some very disparaging things about Baelor Targaryen. Dunk is very upset, and Dunk tells him that he shouldn't talk that way about him, that this guy sacrificed his life for him in this battle, and he should really watch his tongue. And Lionel's like, no, he's not having anything to do with it. He's like, this guy is the epitome of privilege, Granted, Lionel's the epitome of privilege too, but this is just a total like over the top kind of privilege. And he's like, this guy had everybody defending him. Like everybody on that court on both sides is supposed to be defending him, and he died. Like, and then he said something about him being a fraud. I have seen some headlines that indicate there may be some other underlying stuff going on there, that may be why he said these things and has these feelings about him, but basically called him a fraud. And then Dunk's like, well, what about me? What would you call me? And he's like, oh no, you're not a fraud. This is the gods. What was it? Like mocking, like mocking you or something like that. Just basically indicating how pitiful he looks right now, which he does, but it's understandable. It's completely understandable. Yeah, he says the anyway, yeah, he says there that he's basically a mockery to the gods. Anyway, um, after this, Dunk decides to go and face to kind of go to Baylor's funeral and to face his son. His son is there when he, like, I think he goes to kind of watch on as the majority of the family is in the process of the funeral procession. But then after the majority of it's done, he does face Baylor's son. And Baylor's son talks to him, talks about, like this, wrapping your head around this idea that that instead of the son wearing the father's armor and dying in the father's armor, that this time it's like the other way around. The father wearing the child's armor and dying in the child's armor. And he's like, how often does that happen? And Dunk just responds with, like, he has no way of knowing. And then the kid understandably reacts to Dunk, to the whole situation. Like, why is it that of all the people, like, my father was supposed to be this great king, he was supposed to be this kingdom's hope for a great king, why is it that he was taken and you were not? And of course Dunk is like, I've been asking myself the same thing. And what answers do you have? You don't have any answers. And then he goes into Ashford, where people are like doing their thing, and Raymond is there. Raymond Raymond is now married to the prostitute, I think it was. And she's like, he talks about how he doesn't have a squire or whatever, and he needed somebody to help him with his wounds and everything, and she was there to help him, and then one thing led to another. But then he says that she told him that she was with child, and so of course he had to marry her. And I found it so amusing, the look on Egg's face as Raymond is telling him this. And it was like the one time where it looked like Dunk might have actually got something that you would think of Duncan might maybe not quite understanding, that Raymond wasn't getting. That she had kind of pulled the wool over his eyes. That's what it seemed like to me. I could be totally wrong, but it seemed like Dunk was like just holding his tongue, like you got taken, basically. But I don't blame her. And honestly, I don't know that this would be a bad match. This might actually be a very good match. I know nothing about their history, so who the heck knows? But I don't blame her for wanting to get the fuck out of that industry and maybe seeing somebody that she thought she could have a decent life with. Even though she doesn't know a whole hell of a lot about him, but better that than being a prostitute to these high lords and to all their whims and going from lord to lord having who knows what the fuck done to you. I mean, she's talked to Dunk in the past about, like having to treat your body right and that this is, the only body you have. And I think she was definitely speaking from experience. So I don't blame her. And honestly, I think they might be good together. They might not. There's no way to know for sure, but it seems like a better match than some of the feudal matches that we sometimes see. Anyway, all right. After that, Dunk goes to speak to Maker. And Maker's gotta be feeling some seriously, like, dreadful thoughts, conflicting thoughts. Like, this has got to be a lot for him. All of it, the whole thing. He killed his brother. His brother was in that position because of the situation. The situation was in part because of an unfortunate shitstorm that Dunk got himself into trying to respond to Maker's fucking psychopathic son. And his son was the reason the whole thing fucking happened in the first place. Like, all of it. And now his brother's dead. And he's like, no matter what happens, all through history, you're going to hear it, I'm going to hear it. We're going to hear these little whispers from people. When things are going wrong, oh, Baylor would have done it better. Oh, Baylor would have had it done right, and he didn't. But you're also going to hear the whispers about who killed him. And it was interesting. So the first time I watched it, I thought it was him saying that they were going to be whispering about him killing his brother. But then when I listened to it again, it sounded like he was actually saying that they would be whispering that Dunk killed his brother. And I don't know, maybe he's got a little twisted in his head. I'm sure it will be a little bit of both, but the reality is he killed his brother, and that is very highly looked down upon. More so than a hedge knight killing some princeling or whatever. Like, so, yeah. And then the conversation comes up again, like similar to what it did with Baylor's son. This idea of, like, why would the gods take him instead of you? And Dunk is like, you could have had my foot or my hand or whatever. Is his life like an adequate sacrifice for my foot and hand? And it sounded at first like Dunk was kind of disparaging on himself, but then when Maker basically is like, no, like, there's fucking tons and tons of fucking hedge knights. There's no lack of hedge knights in the world. So you losing your hand and foot isn't a fucking adequate sacrifice versus a person that should have ended up on the throne. And Dunk was like, well, I think that made Dunk think, because like he's basically pinning this stuff on him. He's agreeing with Dunk's original premise. Like, why would the gods take him and not me? But then he's like, wait a minute. I'd like to think that maybe at some point in time there might be something that happens somewhere in the kingdom where is important enough for me to have my foot, to have my hand, that without it I would not have been able to accomplish or whatever. And I think that was actually, after he said that was when Maker had made the comment about there being all these hedge knights, and he finds it very unlikely that would be like an adequate sacrifice or an equivalent sacrifice or anything like that, or that it would be justified. But and I know I've seen a lot of headlines and comments basically stating, oh yeah, it is important. It is something that was a good thing because we wouldn't have had any of the Game of Thrones. But the Game of Thrones is freaking treacherous. Like, a lot of the shit that happens in the Game of Thrones is because of corruption and awfulness and all this stuff. So what if Baelor had actually risen to the throne, and then his immediate family were the line of succession after that? How would that have changed Westeros in the future? Would it really have been worse? Do we really know if that would have somehow made it so that they couldn't fight the others? Because that battle with the others was freaking treacherous also. Like, all of it was treacherous. All of it was awful. Do we really know that there wouldn't have been dragons to rise again? That the idea is that Daenerys would never have been born. Jon Snow would never have been born. Like, all these people would never have been born. And so things would have been very different. But do we know for sure that whatever needed to happen for those eggs to hatch, for the dragons to come back, and for the others to eventually be defeated, even though it was really freaking brutal and awful, do we really know that wouldn't have happened without Baelor? I don't know. I'm not, like, that down deep into understanding all of it, so... But I do pay attention to people that know a pretty hefty amount about that, and they seem to be pretty confident that it was very important for the line of succession to change like it did. But I don't know. And supposedly Dunk had done a lot of stuff that was very important to Westeros, and did a lot of stuff that was very important into raising Egg to be a better son than Maekar's other sons. So, anyway. After that, Maekar's like, so even though Maekar's like parsing words about, what sacrifice would have been justified or important or equivalent or whatever, he does finally get to Egg. And even though he has these frustrating, conflicting feelings, he tells him that Egg insists that he will not work with anybody else, that he wants Dunk to take Egg on as his squire, but to train in, did I write this down? I probably did not write this down, but basically train in their royal homeland, get him trained up properly so he doesn't just have Sir Arlen Pennytree's training, which was adequate for what he was going through or whatever, but he still has a lot to learn. And he does. He definitely needs to learn a lot. But he would have to stay there. He would have to pledge allegiance to Makar. And Egg would be stuck there. Which isn't necessarily the best thing for Egg, and I'm pretty sure Dunk is like, doesn't want anything to do with living this fucking royal life, because he's seen how these royals can be, and he can see how overly privileged they are, and how awful they can be, and how much they take advantage of people, and how much not all of them, but they can be very unchivalrous, unhonorable, and all of that. So he's like, no, I have had enough of princes. And I think at that point, it's more he is so frustrated with everything that's happened, with all the shit that's happened, and he feels like this has been the direct result of being under the influence of these freaking royal people and having all this dire shit happen because of these royal people. Just doing shit that they shouldn't be doing. But he's also just come out of this fight where he barely fucking maintained his life, where he damn near was killed, and where somebody that he thought was really a good person, that was really doing something, sacrificing for him, ended up dead because of this whole mess. So I don't blame him for being like, no, like, I need a fucking break from you people. You people are too fucking much. I need to get the fuck away. So that's where they kind of left. But then Egg, of course, is listening on, and Dunk sees him on his way out, asks him if he spied, and Dunk definitely, while I think Dunk is a very good kid for the most part, he definitely has a pattern of lying when it suits him. Granted, he's been in a position where probably every damn buddy and their brother does it, and he sees that they benefit from it, and so he knows, I can just tell a little white lie and it will get me what I want or what I need. And I think in this case it is what he needs, but sometimes there's other ways you can go about it. I don't know that there was another way he could have gone about it because of the situation he was in, but I get it, but he definitely has a pattern of lying that hopefully, eventually, Dunk can kind of help him out with that to make him be more aware of it and try not to do it so much. But yeah, Maker's like, "Will you have Egg?" And after the conversation's over, he's like, "No, I'm done with princes for a while. This guy needs to fucking go the just exit stage left and get away from you people." And then he has I thought it was a flashback. I thought he was having a flashback of Arlen Pennytree, and him actually talking to him as he was dying. But other people were saying, no, this wasn't a flashback. They said it was done a little bit differently, that all the flashbacks before had a slightly different environment. They looked a little bit different. And so they think this was not a flashback, but was like his imaginings in his head of talking to him from beyond the grave or something like that. Him reciting to him like what he needs to do with this penny, like hammering the penny in the tree or whatever, as a tradition that's important for him. And Dunk asking him, why did you never knight me? What was the reason? And so that kind of verification that no, he was never knighted. But I thought it was a flashback, that he actually had this conversation, and other people are saying, no, this was his imaginings, but I didn't realize it. And even the second time I looked at it, I was like, it doesn't look that much different to me, but maybe I wasn't paying enough attention before or something. And to me, there wasn't enough indication. Like, maybe had, when he was done with the conversation and he's crying, and it seems like, the guy had died, if they had like shown him next to the tree but shown Arlen not there, like completely gone, I think that would have made it very clear to me that this wasn't a conversation that actually happened. But no, I thought it was a flashback. Oh, and then we go to Beesbury's funeral. At least I think it was his funeral. And his coffin was, it was very interesting. So his coffin is covered with bees, and Raymond asks about how they got these bees, like he thought it was some sort of magic or something. And his new wifey is like, magic? Like, they put the queen in the coffin with him. And it took him a little bit, but it finally clicked. And it was so funny. She's like, she made the comment about his, that this battle must have turned his brain into applesauce or something like that. And I was like, so now they're like trying to make it sound like Raymond is kind of like on the level of a fool as Dunk has been. Like, Dunk's been like pretty clueless about a lot of things. But and I don't know, was Dunk clueless about that? I don't know if he even indicated what he thought about the whole thing. But Raymond was like, how did they do? I wouldn't have even thought of that, putting the queen in there. That makes total sense. But yeah, it makes more sense than bee magic. And in the same funeral, Dunk sees Darren. And he goes up to confront Darren. Like, you got a lot of fucking nerve to come to this place after everything that happened. And Darren's basically there to try to convince Dunk to go ahead and take Egg on as his squire. And he's like, I already talked to Makar and told him that I'm done with these princes. And he says, my brother wasn't always such a monster. And Dunk is like, Egg's not a monster. He's like, I'm not talking about Egg. I mean, while Egg's got his problems and everything, I wouldn't call him a monster. And at some point he says, after Dunk basically said he didn't want to take any more princes on or whatever, he made the comment that yeah, we can, we still have time to make a man out of him. I think that comment kind of made Dunk really pay more attention and like really rethink his stance on do I really want to be done with these princelings? Because, yeah, look at what happened. Arian didn't used to be this awful person. Arian did used to be a pretty happy kid. He had, he wasn't this fucking psychotic jackass. And we already know that Darren was not this fucking drunk alcoholic. He's got fucking trauma that's putting him there. Like, all these things. And Makar's got 4 sons. And so far, there's like 1 son left there. And if he continues on the same path that the other sons that have stayed there, that lived there through their adulthood, if he stays on that path, Is he going to turn out to be like one of them? So, yeah, I think it definitely made him think. All right, and then we get to, I think, for me, one of the... I mean, it was hard seeing Dunk at the very beginning in his very depressive state and his, like, with that far off look. That was very hard to watch. But seeing Egg in that state where he's seeing the stubble grow out of his head. He's seeing the white stubble coming out of his head. And I remember that conversation he had about how how he shaved all his hair off because he didn't want to look like Aryan. Like Aryan must have caused this kid some fucking severe trauma. And he's looking at his head like oh my god, like it's fucking triggering as fuck, and he can't get away from it. Like this reality that is his brother, his family life, everything that's happening. He's trying to get out of it. He's trying to find another path, and he can't escape it. And that hair coming through, I think, is just like him just like making it very clear that he can't escape it. And plus with everything that happened with Aryan this time, with what Aryan did to cause this entire fucking thing to happen, to have this entire fucking trial and have his uncle die, all this other awful stuff happen, and next thing you know, you see poor Egg freaking walking into Aryan's room with a goddamn dagger. He's gonna kill him, and I'm going, no, it's not worth it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. He's not worth it. And then Maekar is there. You start to hear Maekar moving, and you see Maekar come out from the shadows. But it's probably very good that he was there, because I don't even want to think about what would have happened. I don't think the Egg would have been able to kill him. I think it wouldn't have gone off like he planned, but I think it would have gone very, very badly. Very, very badly. So, Maker's there. He goes up to him. Dunk, you can, or Egg, you can see he's done, he's exhausted, he's resigned himself, and you hear the dagger drop to the floor, and you see his head kind of just kneel on Maekar, and he's just like tears pouring down his face. It was so freaking sad. It was so freaking sad. But I was glad that Maekar was at least there to stop that from happening. And he seemed very, resigned but understanding. He was not punishing the kid at all. He wasn't doing anything about the fact that he had a fucking dagger there to kill his other son, other than to comfort him. So, that was good. Unconditional love, people, is important. Unconditional. Although unconditional love doesn't mean you need to parent in a way that creates somebody like Aryan. Just saying. Okay, so after that, Dunk comes back because apparently Daron has had a talk with him, and he has talked some fucking sense into him, and he's come back to try to convince Maekar to go ahead, let him squire Egg, but to do it away from there. because apparently, like, and Makar's like, I'm not having my kid treated like a peasant. He is not going to be a peasant. He's not going to be sleeping in ditches and all this other shit. And he's like, yeah, you know what? Darren wasn't a fucking peasant. He wasn't sleeping in ditches. And fucking Arian, he had all the fucking nice bloody meat that he could have without having to have dried hard salt beef. And look at them. Look at how they have become. That's not exactly what he said, but that's what the meaning was. That was the intent. And so then Makar comes off with that he doesn't want him to take his last son, that this is his last son. And yeah, I'll talk more about that later, because that fits in with one of my other things. um, but yeah, Maker basically is like, it's my last son. I don't want you to take him away from me. Basically, he is not going to let him take Egg to become a peasant, basically. Like, he is the blood of the dragon. He shouldn't be in that position. He shouldn't be treated that way. Because apparently there is somebody that's too low for him, for his family members, for his blood. Which we know. We know a lot of privileged people see things that way. All right. After that, Egg is packing his horses up, getting ready to leave town. He's ready to fucking head the fuck out of there. He's had enough. Enough. And then we see Raymond coming up with Sweetfoot. And he has bought Sweetfoot to bring it back to him. Apparently with the idea that he's going to go to, go to Storm's End with Lionel, and Egg is like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And Raymond's like, so then what are you gonna do? And he's like, I'm gonna do what I should have done from the beginning and taken these horses the other fucking direction. But he also says he cannot take Sweetfoot, that Sweetfoot is not his anymore. That and basically tells Raymond to take Sweetfoot. And he's also asked Raymond, like, what's he gonna do? And because Raymond's taken on a new sigil because of his fucking turncloak cousin, I think is what it was. His cousin that had the nerve to fucking say that he wasn't loyal. That Raymond wasn't loyal. I'm like, you're the fucking turncloak. You're the one with loyalty issues. He was fucking loyal. You weren't. Anyway, so yeah, he's got a new sigil. He's the nice unripened green apple. Whereas his cousin is the more rotten to the core red apple. And he says that that maybe he'll try to like grow a business with making cider. And I was like, yeah, cider. And I'm like, especially if it's the alcoholic kind, but the non-alcoholic kind is good too. Anyway, so he's going to make cider, and he's got this new wife, and Egg is granting him his horse, and he's like, this is a fine animal. And I'm like, yes, it is. And he's like, do you like apples? I'm like, his name is Sweetfoot. Of course he likes apples. So, yes, he likes apples. So he gave him the apple, and of course he liked it. And what was it? Yeah, so that was kind of nice. And then when they're walking away, I do have some other stuff here. What does this say? Oh yeah, because they haven't left yet. Okay, so Egg shows up and says that Makar is letting him be his squire after all. And I'm like, yeah, you really might want to double check with Makar and verify that that's actually true, because this kid does have a pattern of lying. Yeah, and then we find out at the end, Makar shouting, "Where is he? Where's my son? Where is Egg?" So yeah, Egg lied again. Just continuing that pattern. Where's my son? And when they show them leaving on the horses, they as they're riding the horses away, you see one of the horses go the other way, and it looks like it's Arlen Pennytree branching off the other direction. And my husband was like, why is the horse going the other way? And I'm like, yeah, I think that's like imagery of Arlen Pennytree kind of going off into his new like heavenly land or wherever the heck he's going, but he's going on his own path and they're going on their own path. I think that's what it was. I hope it wasn't Raymond, but I don't think so though. I think it was Arlen. But yeah, that was a good episode. Anyway, let's go ahead. I'm going to play this video for you, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, inside the episode, season 1, episode 6. I like watching this stuff, and I was glad to see it when I was going through my little video clips, since I don't have any trailers for the next episode, since we don't have a next episode. So let's go ahead to here. Do I want to watch it there? Yeah, we'll watch it on here so that my face shows up. Okay, there we go. Uh-oh, hold on. My earbuds are not doing their thing. Hold on a minute. Okay, I think they just kicked in. Yeah, it says they're connected. They had disconnected. Alright, let's try that again. There we go. Oh, hold on.
I toyed with the thought of that Dunk had the 1,000-yard stare. He's half dead.
Alright, there.
I toyed with the thought of that Dunk had the 1,000-yard stare. He's half dead, and I'm pretty sure he wishes he was dead.
His wounds, they have mortified. It's beyond my abilities.
An itchy asshole is beyond your abilities, my friend. Be gone, witch. Fuck off with you.
He can't fathom how he's alive, and so many brave, great people died for him. The two Humphreys and Baylor, and even Raymond, and all these people try to gather around him, and he feels so alone.
Raymond got some sort of shock, like, I can't believe we've survived. And then I feel like the friendship becomes really strong after that point.
Dunk has people in his corner who think, dude, you just survived against a group of Targaryens in the Kingsguard. You're a hero. And then there's the other side of it who blame him for Baylor's death. And now he is being forced to reconsider his position in this universe, because somehow he always manages to survive.
I fought for you. Harding Beesbury, the fucking apple boy, we fought for you. Your prince fought for you against men sworn to protect him. He risked nothing.
Dunk is mourning the loss of Baylor. Lionel sees that there really was just no honor in what he did. It's that sense of there is really a man of honor in Lionel. He's a little bit crazy and he's a little bit bloodthirsty, but there really is a code underneath.
Dunk knows that Lionel is not wrong, having disdain for Targaryen power. At the same time, Baylor was a good man, and Egg is also a Targaryen. Dunk can't get on side with Lionel in this idea that all Targaryens are naturally bad.
Right.
There is a place for you at Summer Hall. You'll swear your sword to me, and Aegon can squire
Summer
for you.
Hall,
While
that's
you
what it
train
is.
him, my master-at-arms will finish your own training.
He wants to keep his family together, and if Duncan is there, he has more of a chance to do that. I think Aegon is his last chance to rear a son who is representative of the Targaryen family in a good, noble, chivalrous way.
Beg your pardon, Lord, but I think I'm done with princes.
It's sort of what he would have dreamed of in episode 1. These opportunities to be a knight for these fancy lords. But when Dunk says, I'm done with princes, what that means is the whole notion of nobility has been shattered for Dunk. And even though he loves and cares about Egg, Egg is still a prince. Dunk feels like there's no good way that he could train Egg in an environment surrounded by people all clamoring for wealth and power.
My brother wasn't always such a little monster.
Egg is no monster. It's just a boy.
I didn't mean Egg, but no doubt we'll make a man of him too.
When Darren quite bluntly puts into context what Egg's life will be like without Dunk, that's the thing that finally gets him to go back to Maekar with his own gambit. Give me Egg and I'll take him on the road, because when your sons are trained at Summerhall, they turn out like little shits. And Maekar very reasonably says no, because he can't stand his son, a prince, sleeping under a tree with a hedge knight. And also, he doesn't want to turn his last chance to have an honorable son over to somebody else.
He spent an entire tournament at Ashford looking at all these knights and questioning Sir Erlen. Sir Erlen was definitely good enough to have served the Lord, and he realizes now why he lived the way he did. It's because all this glory and the luxury that these knights and highborn people live in is just complete and utter horseshit to be a knight. It's about being true to the principles that you live and set upon yourself. And it's solidified when he speaks to Dan, and Dunk realizes that there's a little kid that looks up to him, and now he has the opportunity to raise a future king by the way Sir Erlen taught him, because he's going to be a well-rounded, knowledgeable, superior king of Westeros.
Sir Duncan! My Lord Father says I am to serve you.
Dunk probably thinks that Maekar saw reason in what Dunk was saying. Perhaps he is better to live away from all the luxuries that come with being part of that royal family. I don't know if he even cares. He's just glad to see Egg and have his companion back.
Unfortunately for
Right, and get Egg out of
said
that.
no, and Egg went anyway. So we'll deal with the repercussions of that down the line.
He does it because he really, really wants to be with Dunk. He starts as a sad prince who never liked his family because of Dunk. He learns more about the small folk and the world, and he ends up to be this happy squire who has someone he can trust.
He's failed with his eldest two sons. Aegon is his last chance to create a legacy that is fit for the throne. And
I'm
him
glad I
leaving
watched
is a
this.
kind of rejection
This is
of
going to
that.
help me with the...
Had it not been
Some of
for
my
meeting Dunk, he
favorites
probably
and
would
least
have
favorite
gone on
stuff.
to be a corrupted Targaryen. So it's such a moment of relief when he goes with Dunk.
Where are we going, sir?
Don't know.
I've had an unbelievable experience on this, but I'll just wait and see. And I think Dunk and Egg are going to wait and see what happens to them too.
You'll have to wait until season 2.
We have a feeling of our unlikely duo back on the road and off to new adventures. Episode 6 ends with Dunk nailing a penny into the tree in Sir Arlen's honor, but also as a reminder to himself of what honor really means and what he'll take forward with him wherever the road may lead.
Yay! All right. Okay, we can stop that. Go back to the live scene. Okay, all right, so now we're going to do my VIP and piece of shit and least favorite and favorite and all of that. All right, so. VIP for this episode was Raymond Fossaway. There were several people that I thought about, but Raymond, granted, there was that whole fiasco with him getting married off to somebody who told him that she was with child and just knew it was a boy right away, like that you would know the day after that you're pregnant or that you're having a boy or anything like that is absurd. But he was convinced enough to marry her. So, yeah, that's definitely not VIP behavior. But the whole fact that when all is said and done, he comes back, he has brought Sweetfoot back, he has paid for it, he's like being a true friend, asking him what he's gonna do. When he finds out that he's not gonna go with Lionel, he's not upset about it. He just asks, like, it's just a genuine, like, more of a friendship, and he's doing things. And I was so happy that Dunk decided to send Sweetfoot off with him. I think the horse will have a much better life that way. I think the life of a horse with a hedge knight is not likely to be a long one, honestly. Maybe it will be with them. Maybe things will be okay for them, but I've just heard a lot of bad things about horses that are used for things like that in battle and in traveling the countryside and shit like that. So yeah, I'm staying in a fucking apple farm or whatever, make cider and stuff like that sounds way the hell better and more healthy for the horse. So I was very glad about that. And that was my VIP, Raymond Fossaway. Favorite, no, we did VIP, so next is going to be the piece of shit. Okay, I had a really hard time deciding who did I really want to be the piece of shit for this episode. But after all is said and done, I really felt like, even though I understand where he's coming from, Maker's final decision to not allow Egg to go because it's his last son. It just feels like there are numerous points in your family's history of family members being unwilling to let their children go, and it turning out very, very horribly for them. Rhaena being unwilling to let Arya go. I think that was her name. Not Arya like on Game of Thrones, but Arya. I think that was her name. Her decision to be unwilling to let her go, this girl decides to fucking run off, like Egg is running off, but she runs off onto a fucking dragon that flies her most likely back to fucking Valeria. And then the next time they see her, nobody finds her again. She's not found until she is dropped back and she is half dead and she's got fucking worms and snakes and shit like that in her, and she is on fire, damn near literally, not like literally on fire, but she's so freaking hot that she might as well be on hot fire, and she ends up dying there. Like, that happened from somebody being unwilling to let their child go when it was more healthy, that it would have been a more healthy, more sensible thing to let her go when she needed to go. There was another situation with Jaehaerys' kids. Now this was almost an opposite, because in this situation he sent his kid away, and his kid ending up in a fucking prostitution. She ends up like in charge of the fucking of whatever. Like, he ends up not having a fucking relationship with her anymore. Like, and while in some sense she might have been better off for that, like, Like, it's just like these people that continuously make these decisions because they think it's what's right for them as a parent for whatever reason. And those decisions are like screwing these kids over. And these kids are ending up in a bad way because of that. And to me, like, your sons that are with you, not Aemon that's sitting on the wall that's gone to be a maester, but the ones that are with you, that are being raised under your care, these kids are turning out traumatized and fucked up and just like not in a good way. And you don't have the good sense even after it's like, you're talking about episode 5 or 6. I'm talking about episode 6. So the final episode. There is something I'm going to go over a little bit in 5. It's just kind of an overlap, but that'll be in a little bit. So yeah, the fact that he just would not decide for the betterment of his kid after, like, to me, hopefully Egg had talked some sense into him. And when I saw Egg come out and say that he was that his dad changed his mind and he could squire him, part of me hoped that Maekar really made that decision, but then part of me was like, Egg has a history, he has a pattern of lying. And the end comes, and yeah, he's like, where is my son? Where is Egg? So he obviously didn't do that. And so for me, yeah, I'm going to say that's my least favorite person of the episode because of that specifically. I understand why. I just think it is the worst thing that he could do for his kids, is just keep them trapped there in that royal family. All right. My favorite scene was when Dunk comes up to Darren, who he's at the Beesbury funeral, and he's like, you got a lot of nerve coming here. And Darren goes on to tell him about how his brother was not always this monster, that he's not talking about Egg, that he's talking about Arion, that Arion actually used to be a decent kid. And when Dunk insists that he's really had enough of the princelings and everything, and Darren says something about I'm sure that we have time to still make a man out of him. And when he says that, you see that cranky going on in Dunk's head. You see that like understanding of what it really means to leave Egg with this family, to leave Egg in the middle of this royal mess. The mess that he's realized that he's had enough of and he can't deal with anymore. That Egg's going to be stuck in the middle of that. And yeah, that's when he realizes he can't just leave Egg here. He needs to, like, at least put up a decent fight for him. Come in there, have a decent fight for him, and be like, okay, I will go ahead and take Egg to Squire, but we can't do it here. He's stuck here. If he stays here, he may end up turning out just like your kids. So yeah, Darren getting him just that one freaking line, seeing that light go on and seeing him realize what it really means if he leaves Egg there. That was priceless. That was beautiful. All right, my least favorite scene. It was not actually a scene. This was the scene that we did not get. The scene that never was. And this is what I was talking about when you said, am I talking about episode 5 or 6? They could have done this scene in episode 5. They could have done this scene in episode 6, and they did not. Something to show a real focus on what happened when Maekar fucking struck Baelor and killed him. That blow that ended up killing Baelor. Like, we should have seen some focus on that. It could have been in episode 5. It could have been in this episode. They, like, when they showed the funeral, for example, and they showed Makar standing there, they could have just done like an imagery, a flashback of him just like cycling it through his head, what happened and how awful it was, and that like just like give us a real focus on that event. I think that was something that was needed in the season. At the end of the season, it was needed either in episode 5 or 6, and we never got it, and I think that was a big missed opportunity. So that was my least favorite scene, the scene that never happened that should have happened. Focus on Baelor actually getting fucking killed by his own brother. Whether it be accident or purpose, whether it be the unfortunate reality of the situation or intentional, like, that was very important to the show. I understand that they are trying to do this in Dunk's perspective, but it still could have been done. It still could have been done while still keeping the majority of the show in Dunk's perspective. So, yeah. I think that's it. I think that's everything. Now, the idea of what they're going to do for season 2. So I'm trying not to look too far into it. I have not read the other books. I only read The Hedge Knight. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen in the next season or with the other stories. I know that the next season is supposed to be based primarily off of the second book. I don't remember the name of the second book, but it's supposed to be based off the second book. I will probably at least get the audio version of the books. I might get a digital copy of the books so that I can read it like I've been reading Handmaid's Tale. I don't know. Because I don't think I can do something like that with the audio version. I think if I tried to play the sound from the audio version, I would probably get a copyright strike for that or something like that. So I don't think it would work. But I seem to be able to read from the stories, and that doesn't seem to be a problem. I don't get anything for that. So maybe I'll get a digital copy and try doing that. But I do want to do that before the next episode comes out, because I know there's 2 other books for this, for the Dunk and Egg scenarios or series, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the episode, Dunk had talked about the 9 kingdoms of Westeros rather than 7, and he listed them off. And I do remember when I was reading the books about like the histories, that there were periods in Westeros where it was not the same amount. I mean, I think honestly, they said there were times where it was just like splinters of tons of different places. But this idea of 9 kingdoms, I think, makes sense. And he did list them off. I just wonder, I'm pretty sure that Dorne is one of them that is not counted in when they say the 7 kingdoms. I think Dorne is one of them that's not counted, although I could be wrong. But I don't know what the other one was that wasn't counted in the 7 kingdoms. It's something I'll have to go back and double check. I know that I have heard about this before, but I don't remember exactly what it was. And if you have read the books and you know the scenario with Dorne, I'm pretty sure Dorne like never bent the knee to the Targaryens. They never agreed to be part of this Targaryen dynasty. They never agreed that the Targaryen kings were their kings, at least as far as I know. So I think that's why, like, in some periods in time, they say Dorne is one of the kingdoms, and sometimes it's not. I think they may have made some sort of arrangement or not, or something. But I know at no point did they ever agree to kneel. I know that the original king, I think it was King Aegon, whoever the king that brought the Seven Kingdoms together, that king tried multiple times to get freaking Dorne to bend the knee, and they wouldn't go for it. And the last time that I recall, there might have been something that happened after, but the last time I remember that he tried to get them to bend the knee or get them to just to take them over, basically, he gets to Dorne and everybody's gone. Just gone. They can't bend the knee if they're not there. Like, that was brilliant. But anyway, yeah, so second season, they did say, I've seen commentary from the showrunners that there is going to be a little teeny bit about them going to Dorne. So we may see a little bit of that, but I'm pretty sure the majority of the story is not about Dorne. The majority of the story is a different area, and I think it's like economic resource stuff that's going on in the area with water, something like that. So trying to deal with that stuff with these resources not going the way they need them to go in that kingdom. That's my understanding. Outside of that, I know nothing. I know that they said Maekar is probably not going to show his face. Maybe we might get some little comment or something about what happened, but Maekar is not supposed to be part of the cast. Was Lionel? I think the guy who played Lionel said that doesn't know, that he has not heard that he's supposed to be in there, but there is supposed to be a building relationship with them. Not romantic or anything. Definitely seems to be some stuff there, some connections possibly, but it's a friendship relationship. And from my understanding from the stories, from the books, yes, I give spoilers sometimes. I can't help myself. So it's definitely a spoiler. In the books, supposedly eventually there's a situation where one of Dunk's family members is supposed to be married off to one of Lionel's family members, and that does not go the way it is supposed to, and that pretty much destroys their friendship, basically. After that, things just go downhill between them. So yeah. But that is as much as I know, and that is all I have for you. I will go through my little schedule now, since Night of the Seven Kingdoms is done. House of the Dragon ain't coming out until June, so right now I'm still working on Handmaid's Tale readings. I read those on Sundays and Tuesdays. Tokyo Ghoul, I have 3 more reactions, which I do on Fridays. After Tokyo Ghoul is over, I will be working on Solo Leveling. I'll probably have those on Fridays also. It makes it easier. I take about a week to get these things done, and so doing them one week after the next just makes good sense for me. And plus, I don't like to be doing too much editing and stuff like that during the weekends. The weekends I work on other things around the house, on trying to get little things done and trying to figure out how to do some of the stuff in my editing that I want to learn how to do, because I'm not good at it at all, if you haven't noticed. But I am trying to get better at it. I'm trying to learn some new things to make things a little bit better. I'm trying to learn some methods to make my cutting up of the episode faster, because that is probably my biggest problem, is deciding what to cut out and what to leave in and where the hell to put it. So yeah, let's see. And Bridgerton season 4, right now they're on a break. Their break ends, I think, on Friday. Is that one? Their break ends, yeah, I think it ends on Friday. No, it ends on Thursday. It ends on Thursday, but it takes me about a week to get those things done. So, this week there is no Bridgerton episode. And I don't really have something to take its place right now. I need to get to work on finishing up editing my Gen V episodes, because I still have 3 episodes of those that I need to put up at some point. And I have just started working on editing the reactions for this show, for Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So at some point I'll need to start publishing those, but it may be a while. I am at least starting the editing though, so that's that. What's after Bridgerton? After Bridgerton ends, it's got 4 more episodes. So Friday there's an episode, and then another episode I will drop each week. Although it's not going to be this Friday, it'll probably be next Friday. It'll be next week. At some point, I will drop a Bridgerton episode. And then it will be 1 week each after that. And there's 4 episodes left. So we've got 8 full episodes. Right now, Bridgerton is on episode 4. And then in March, is it March? March Deadlock starts. So I've been doing after watches for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Once Deadlock comes out in March, I'm going to start doing after watches for that. So just like I'm doing with this, I will do the same type of thing with Deadlock. And then in April, Testaments, the spin-off for Handmaid's Tale, comes out, and I will be doing reactions for that. So that's all I got for you for now. I will see you when I see you.